Hello, I'm Julie Thompson. Welcome to the Pembroke Select Board Candidate Interview. I want to take a moment to thank our candidate for participating in this interview and collaborating with PAC TV to bring this informational programming to residents and voters this election season. Let me explain the format. Today, Thomas Driscoll will be interviewed. Tommy will have 2 minutes to introduce himself, speak about his background, qualifications, and why he's running for office. He will then be asked a series of questions, which will include a back and forth exchange between he and myself, and those questions won't go for longer than 4 minutes. He will then have a 2-minute closing statement. Both his opening statement and closing statement, 2 minutes are notified to him on his screen so he knows where he is in reference to time. So we're going to get started with your opening statement. Tommy, you're going to have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Julie, thank you for having me. My name is Thomas Driscoll. I've lived in Pembroke for 15 years. I've been married to my wife, Jennifer Boyle Driscoll, who's also lived here who's lived here for 15 years. We have 3 children. Thomas Jr., who has passed away. He would have been 14. Matthew Driscoll, who is 12, currently in 6th grade. And Maggie Driscoll, who is 11, currently in 5th grade. I have been an iron worker since 1999 when I graduated the apprenticeship, where I entered the apprenticeship and later graduated. In 2005, I joined the Army Reserve, where I served as military police. I was in the military for 9 years. I've been to a lot of different places. I've experienced a lot of different things. After I got out of the Army, or still in the Army at the time, I settled in Pembroke, which would have been 15 years ago. Here, I've served on the Board of Health for 10 years as chair, 3 years on the Rec Commission, and 3 years on the Solid Waste Recycle Committee as a vice chair. I've also been on the ZBA. I look forward to helping Pembroke grow as a community. There is a lot of good plans going around out there, and I would like to be a part of that in helping Pembroke expand, grow into the future. I hope to bridge from people that just moved into town and people that have been here for years. I hope to be a voice for them. With that, let's get going, Julie.
All right. Thank you, Tommy. Let's go to first question. Given what we have experienced in the past year, what are the most valuable lessons learned, and how can they be utilized in managing the town moving forward?
Never underestimate something. Having been chair of the Board of Health this year during the pandemic, you can never underestimate what's in front of you. When the pandemic started, I don't think we had any idea what could happen or what was going to happen with the shutdowns, with the masks. And you just can't underestimate anything.
Do you think?
And I look forward to bringing that perspective to the select board by, not underestimating anything, whether it's an override or just the community in general.
Okay, so talking about how not to underestimate things that come up, Pembroke obviously had to pivot greatly during the last year. Things that we were going to do, we didn't do. Every day, things were changing. What do you think was the most valuable lessons that we learned about communicating, especially with the position you were in, during this past 14 months?
You have to be honest with the public. You have to be truthful. And I think that I did that over the last year. And, at times I maybe say things that are very blunt, but it's coming from the heart, like wearing the mask this year was not something I had ever anticipated having to sign an order to enact. And we did that before the state actually did. There's a lot of things I learned this year.
Okay.
That was
a big one. Yeah. For all of us. So question number 2.
Yes.
What aspects of town government need fixing the most and the least?
Well, I think that we just got in with we just hired a town manager. We really haven't even given him the room to spread his wings yet. I think that the town and the boards need to adjust to a town manager, and I think that's one of the things that we as a town have to work towards. I don't think anything is I think it just all needs to be worked out under the town manager, because he's our skipper. He's our leader. He's the one that we. Go ahead, Joe.
So, what do you mean by you have to adjust to the new town manager? Like, what changes where we used to have a town administrator? What has changed so the public understands what that means?
Well, the town manager has a lot more abilities than a town administrator. He can set things. He can make. He's what it stops with. You know what I mean? The select board has become almost an advisory board to not an advisory board per se. We're still a select board, but still a select board. But you have to be able to. They have to work more with the manager now, because the manager is trying to manage us and lead us in the right direction.
Okay. All right, that's good. And what about what we do well in the town? What have we done really, really well all along? What's good about the town, the way it's governed?
Speaking from the Board of Health's perspective, I think the Board of Health does a fantastic job. I think Lisa Cullity is awesome what she does. I think the DPW really tries. I think the police department is fantastic. I think the fire department is fantastic. They're all dealing with the shortcomings of not having a good facility to run. I think, maybe recreation, it has to, they're dealing with a building that's crumbling. And, with the new facility, they may be able to have a better showing, or have more people come, or make it better for the town.
Okay, great. Let's go to question 3. There are pros and cons to having those with long tenure sitting on elected boards versus those who may be newly elected to the position. What is your view on board turnover?
So, speaking from having been on the Board of Health for as long as I have, when you're on a board for a long period of time, you find out what the layout of, or how everything works in town, basically, how everything flows in town. So there's good points for having, people be on boards for a long period of time. But then there's times where the town does need to change, because it needs to move forward. And if it hasn't moved forward with their tenure there, with whoever's been there, then it's time for a change. Do I think there should be term limits? Yeah, I guess. My father-in-law served on the board of the select board for a really long time, and he's very well respected in town. He always, he was truly what a member of select board should be. Very level-headed, and he served a really long time. So I don't know. I kind of go either way with having term limits, to be honest. I think the voters should recognize, if somebody's not doing good in that position, or the position is not being led the right way, then, maybe it's time to move on from that person or persons.
And just one other thing, as far as being on a board or serving on a board or committee, how important is communication? And do you feel that boards communicate well in the town of Pembroke?
No, I don't. I think, for whatever reason, I feel like communication in the past has been lacking. I know, obviously, we just hired a town manager, and I feel like it's improved. But in the past, I felt like, no, it was not the best communicating in town.
Okay. All right, great. So let's go on to your rapid response 20-second question. You're going to have 20 seconds to answer this. So I'm going to ask you something. Just whatever comes to mind first. If you were given $3 million to spend in any way you could for the town of Pembroke, how would you spend it?
Sidewalks, without a doubt. I would spend it on sidewalks for entrances into the school, the main roads. I mean, it'd probably be a lot more than that. $3 million is a lot of money, but not when it comes to construction these days. That's the one cry I hear, and we need sidewalks. We definitely need sidewalks.
Alrighty, that came right to mind. Thank you. So now we are actually ready for your closing remarks. So you'll have 2 minutes to talk about whatever you want. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me again. On June 26th, I ask you to come out and cast your vote for me. I feel as though I can be a voice of, like I said before, between people that just came to this town and people that have been here for years. I plan on sticking around a long time. I'm not looking to elevate myself into any other position. I want to serve the town, and I have nothing but the Pembroke's best interest at heart. I think that we're in a fork in the road here, and I think we need leadership, and I believe I can provide that. On June 26th, please come out and vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tommy, for participating in this interview. We wish you the best of luck throughout your campaign and in the election. For our viewers, thank you for joining us. If you're interested in watching replays of this interview, please visit our website, pactv.org/elections, for replay times and online viewing options, including PAC TV's on-demand and streaming service, PAC TV Prime. And please make your choices heard by voting in the election on Saturday, June 26th. Thank you and good day.